Hi everyone, and welcome to another edition of Poking Around Phoenixville. I'm your host, Lou Beccaria. Thanks for tuning in. It's always great to have you with us. My guest today is a lady who has been in Phoenixville and spent her whole life in Phoenixville. She's very well known, and she is well known by the name Miss Debbie. And of course, it's Debbie Mitchell, a lady who has devoted her whole life to community activities here and risen above lots of things, lots of challenges in her life. So we thought it'd be very interesting for you to meet Debbie up close and personal. So Debbie, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Lou.
It's great to have you here.
It's good to be in your presence.
You're too kind. Debbie, tell us a little bit about your early life and growing up in Phoenixville.
Well, I was one of the fourth generation of our family.
Fourth, is that right?
In Phoenixville. My mother, Margaret Colbert, my grandmother, Debbie Colbert, and then myself. So this is my home, my kind of town. I was born down there near the Mansion House Hotel where they had those 30 homes from the Iron Company. It was all ethnicity. It was Slovak, Polish, Ukrainian, and everybody, and we were the only black family. Mm-hmm. So every Sunday we got together. One made root beer, homemade root beer, hulupkis, pierogies, and my mother made the fried chicken. Oh, we had the best time of living, and no one had any challenges against them. We were all just love. And love is what I'm based on. Mm-hmm. I was based in God's word. My mother had us 5 little kids, and my mother was married 8 years before she had any child. And here she prayed for us to come 5 every 9 or 10 months. And then all of a sudden she prayed to God, let them stop, let them stop, let them stop. And so we all hanged on to mother, boy, girl, boy, girl, boy. And we just played together, prayed together, and ate together. Mm-hmm. Oh, what a life. The best childhood ever in history. That's why I recommend people should live in Phoenixville.
It sounds like you kind of grew up in the traditional melting pot, as they say, where
we did.
Lots of different nationalities together and
yes, in fact,
getting along.
My neighbor couldn't even speak English, Baba. We were supposed to say Yajimash, and if she said Dobra, that meant she was okay. But one day she didn't say Dobra, and we ran to the knitting mill to get her son, Paul Furco, and he came there, and we saved her life. And because she didn't say Dobra, that meant good, and she was sick. So we all understood each other. Some couldn't talk English, but we knew that kind of love, just amongst us, that was a reading itself.
Kind of like the old world values of people looking after each other.
Yes, that's what it was.
Neighbors.
And now all those homes are all knocked down, and those folks have made it to the top. Education brings all that out of you. Mm-hmm. After you get to a point of education, there is no more poor people. And so many of our friends now are still in Phoenixville, living in Kimberton, etc. And they're well-to-do. But we all get together now and then and remind ourselves where we came from.
Yeah, you still have those same roots that keep you
roots.
together and bind you together.
Love those roots.
Now, did your family work in the steel mill?
No. In fact, would you believe it, my dad came up from Virginia as a merchant marine, and he pierced for white. Mm-hmm. At that time. And so consequently, he worked at McAvoy Brickyard as the first, actually, quote, black driver, because they thought he was white as well. But then when my mother, who was never married, and met this man, and walking through Reese's Park, and he sort of caught her eye, and she said, oh my goodness, I don't want to be bothered with someone I don't really know. After she got to know him and found out that he was a black man, and later on they married, this is how it is. He worked at McAvoy, and mother was with the Grimes Amy Church in Phoenixville, raised all of us kids as Methodists. But I was the traitor. 12 years of age, I went to a Baptist Bible camp with my good old buddies from school, and I found the love of God that when I wanted to get baptized under the water, and they would not do it for me. So that's when I became Baptist. And then I found out that there's a little tiny church on the north side of Phoenixville. Well, I got to go to there, and I founded at 12 years of age a Sunday school. I went to the kids' neighborhoods and picked up little kids and brought them. And old Deacon William Bearden, he helped me, and we established a Sunday school, which I just retired as superintendent emeritus after 50 years.
Wow.
And I loved those children. In fact, those children are now in my inspirational choir and singing God's song. So our roots of love have extended from beginning to now.
Yeah.
It's wonderful.
I'd like to go back to something you said about 2 minutes ago, and that is about your father. Looking for a job,
Yes.
that he passed for white.
Yes.
That seemed to imply that there was some amount of discrimination
Well,
in the community.
actually,
Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, actually, to tell you the truth, the black men at that time, they were like laborers, and down McAvoy's brickyard, and majority of the blacks worked at the steel mill, but because of the complexion of my dad, well, he was a black man. He had a white man that was in charge of the plantation down there, and his mother worked there, and he sired my dad. So my dad was always in the house, and the coppage that came from the master's name. So when Dad came up this way, being so white-like in complexion, when he went down to McAvoy, they didn't even ask him. They just assumed.
Yeah.
And he became part of the McAvoy family. And so therefore, racism, we didn't know it. But yes.
In your father's generation, he experienced it,
yes,
but you didn't.
Yes, he did. I did not.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know anything about really basic color.
Now, we've done some shows on the Underground Railroad
Yes.
here, and of course, Phoenixville is known as a major stop on the Underground
Yes.
Railroad. In your family's roots, do you have that in your roots of your family coming up from the South?
No.
During the times of the slavery and Civil War?
No, because like I said, 4 generations of my mothers were here.
Here, okay.
My dad, he had one sister. She passed for white and went to live in France. He never heard from her after that. And so therefore, her name was Pauline. That's why my name, Debbie Pauline College Mitchell. My dad never called me Debbie, never.
Is that right?
He called me Pauline.
But how did everybody around town get to call you Debbie and Miss Debbie?
Debbie, that's right, Miss Debbie. Debbie, my mother, I was named after my grandmother. So my dad wanted me to be named Pauline Debbie. And so contrary, my dad just said that Debbie was not going to be named. I'm calling her Pauline after my sister. My dad had me take piano lessons. That's how I got into piano.
Okay.
So I could play for him every night at 7 o'clock, carrying me back to Old Virginia. Every night.
Were you pretty much self-taught on the piano?
No. Mrs. Ernest on First Avenue. I took 2 years. And after the 2 years was up, my sister and I, we played duets together. My sister Margaret and I. And my brother Richard played the trumpet, and my brother Don had the trombone. And
Don plays the trombone?
Don played the trombone.
Oh,
and we had a family time.
Well, I've heard you play the piano. You can tickle those ivories pretty well.
And see, now God gave me that extra step. After I did quit, I then played my own self, and actually, then God gave me the inspiration to search those keys, and when the Spirit hits me, I even find little cracks in those keys that I didn't even know about, And it's good, it's healthy, and it relieves my tension, and it relates to my aim to helping other people. Because even now, at the present time, once a month I go to the nursing manor in Phoenixville, and every second Wednesday I go there, and whatever those little residents want me to play for 1 hour, I give them their wish. And in fact, now, one of the ladies out there, she's about 100 years of age, Miss Lottie was in our church. When she came up from Alabama, she couldn't read, write, or anything. And I had her in the Sunday school. I taught her how to read and write. She even took her driving test. And now she's at the manor. And when I go out there every second Tuesday, she can sing every song word by word.
How about that?
Oh,
You were
it's
quite
so-
an influence on her life.
Oh, it's inspirational. It's wonderful.
Well, tell us about your years of growing up. Let's say, I understand you went to Harcum Junior College, and
Well,
you worked for
well,
the West Company, is that right?
Well, that's a story in itself because of the fact that I went to Harcum College because when I graduated from high school here in Phoenixville. In fact, we're going to celebrate our 55th reunion this October, next month. Well,
Oh, wonderful.
well, the thing of it is that when Dr. Reed, when she founded the daycare center, I was on the board, and she wanted me to be one of the teachers because I was caring. So I didn't have the education. I had the know-how, but not the education. So she and a couple of people got the money together and sent me to Harcum College and Temple University to get my early childhood credits so I
Really?
could teach.
How about
And
that?
my little son Wesley was the first student at the daycare center because Mama was in
How
charge.
special. How about that?
Mama was in charge. And then after that, I worked there 5 years, and then they asked me to become on the hospital board of the Phoenixville Hospital. And Mrs. Gilkison and Grant Kaiser came to my home on Breckenridge. And they asked me, I said, oh, I don't think I could do that. They said, yes, we know you can do that.
What an honor.
Oh, and I did go then. I went on the board. I met some good people like Jim West, who got to know me well and said, Debbie, we need you at the West Company.
How
I said,
about
what am
that?
I going to do there? He says, you just come and you find out what you want to do and we'll make it available for you.
And the West Company was never the same again.
No,
right?
the West Company was never the same again. I even changed some of those presidents. And we got we got a love established. And even the
What was-
sales director.
What exactly was your job there?
Well, actually, I was in charge of the distribution office and the mail room. And I made that one top facility because I even became on the Southeastern Postal Council board because my knowledge became so wanting to know more and more. And I tell you, the West Company, they treated me well. And then being with the hospital board, I got to know Mrs. Anita Clothier Packard, who changed my life. I changed her life with love,
Okay.
but she changed me too.
We need to take a break right now, but when we come back, I'd like to hear more about
Oh,
her.
I tell you, I think
okay?
you need to know a little more about her.
Okay.
Thank you.
We're going to take a break for a commercial right now, so please stay with us. And when we come back, we're going to have more from Debbie Mitchell. You'll want to hear it. Hi, welcome back to Poking Around Phoenixville. I'm Lou Beccaria, your host, and thanks for staying with us. We have the pleasure today of talking with Debbie Mitchell, well known around Phoenixville for her community activities and community leadership. And Debbie, when we left for commercial break, you were telling us about a lady that had a lot of influence on your life, Anita Clothier Packer. Could you continue on with that?
Well, I met Anita at the board level of the hospital. She got to know me, and she fell in love with me, likewise myself. She met my family, and then when she met my son Kenny, and Kenny was in 9th grade, and he wasn't really using himself in school like he should. And I mentioned it to her. She said, let him take a test. He took a test. He scored so high that she said, my son-in-law is in charge of the Hill School. I'm going to get him in the Hill School. And that's what happened. She made it available for Kenny. Then my son Wesley went to the Hill School. And both boys are graduates there. She made it so available, I didn't have to pay a penny.
Wow.
She was a one great woman. And she and I would go and get banana splits on Sundays. She had a chauffeur drive us to the store and do that. She'd come to my house, and she was there for the weddings. She was my friend. I loved her.
Wow. You've been very fortunate. You've had some very interesting people
Yes.
that have influenced your life.
Yes.
Who was the person that you think, of all the people that influenced your life, maybe the one who did it the most? Are you able to pick out one?
I would say God. He is my influence. He is my all in all. He's my protector. I have went through a cancer, a double mastectomy. My husband couldn't come in the operating room. My family took me to the operating room, but they couldn't come in. And I said to the surgeon, Dr. Deborah Rosa, can I have prayer? God brought me out of there, both my hands lifted high. He gave me the inspiration that I will give you that extra step, that even though I have bone cancer in the 4th level, and I just take that pill, Arimidex. It's a new one. The Cancer Center of Phoenixville is in my control. I'm under their control, but the thing of it is, God is in control. And that's my best friend. And he supplies all these other friends like you, Lou.
You have a lot of friends in Phoenixville.
Dick Clinch. Tom Ramsey. I have all these kind of good friends, but my best friend is God.
Yeah. Tell us about a little bit more about your faith and what it's done for you in terms of all the work that you've done in the community. I mean, you're known as a tremendous community person, community leader. What role has your faith played in all that, Debbie? I mean, you've been involved in lots of different community activities, such as the Girl Scouts and the Phoenixville Community Health Foundation, the hospital, Bethel Baptist Church. I think you started the choir there.
Yes.
It goes on and on and on.
Yes.
Is your faith involved in all that?
Well, Lou, God made a presence to me. And he told me that if I stood still, he would fight my battles. And he said to me that if I could encourage and inspire some other person with my faith that I have for him, that he's going to extend my life a little more. And I believe this. So therefore, we have to die with something. Now that is true. But I pity people that don't know God. You see, I can laugh, I can have a good time, but God doesn't stop me there. I can beat my son in Scrabble, or we have a good time fussing and fighting with the Scrabble, the dictionary. But you see, but God has inspired in me, if I can touch somebody, that they can touch somebody and go on down and make this a better community. That's what love's about. Yeah. You see Tina Turner saying, what's love got to do with it? Everything, because God is love. Yeah. And he has touched my life, and I think that I can touch somebody else's. He has touched me and healed me in a way that I won't let this cancer just string me down. I will work with my cancer and my body, and I do a little more walking now. I eat healthier, and I would recommend to any young person, please get your body checked. I let mine go too far. I did. I let mine go too far. Only the reason why my daughter, who died with the cancer, I went through every step with it, and I just couldn't face it at the time. I raised her 2 girls now, and now one's a senior at DePaul University, and the baby girl just started St. John's University in Queens, New York, and I feel I've accomplished what Pat wanted, my daughter. But now I am ready to take on Phoenixville, Berwyn, and the whole world. But you know, September 11th, and this hazard of Hurricane Katrina, I would just like to take everybody and put them somewhere, do something for them. So I'm going to do my little bit. If everybody could just do their little bit, this world will be a better place for love. Yeah.
Tell us about some of the organizations that you've been involved with.
Well, now my new recent one is the Red Hatters. Oh my goodness, I love that because it's fun. Well, now one of our requirements in our Red Hatters is that our group, you have to be a Christian. Okay, and this one also is Afrocentric based, but yet we're part of the whole Red Hat program, so we have fun.
What's the significance of the Red Hat? And they also wear purple, is that right?
Yes, red and purple are the colors. But the thing of it is that there's no restriction. You are to have fun. You are to have fun doing things like we went to the Devon Horse Show. We met with other Red Hatters, and we sat there and carried on and laughed, ate lunch together, and just had fun. We go on the boats, trips, and we do things just for fun. No formality. Now, some of the serious things I've done was the Girl Scouts. 18 years on that board. I really put my heart, soul, and mind. I turned it around. Yes, I turned it around because we established more. I even was in charge on the golf outing. I cannot even golf, but I made golf so much fun that we raised thousands and thousands of dollars during the years. I worked with the health and welfare board members for Chester County. I was on the Southeastern United Fund board. I've been on so many boards I can't begin to tell you. But the thing of it is that the best board I've ever been on was really just Phoenixville. I was on the Title I, and that's what I like the best. We brought that Title I with the school system into Bethel Baptist Church and then made programs for those people who could not read or write. They learned. And that's why I served 33 years on the Title I, because then we were able to bring it into our school, to the church.
So your influence really, for the benefit of our viewers, has really touched almost every aspect of this community because of the diversity of things that you've been involved with.
Absolutely.
And speaking of diversity, by the way, if someone asked me about Debbie Mitchell, I would say her top concerns are issues of diversity and social justice. Could you tell us about that, how you got so concerned about those issues? Is it an extension of your faith in God that you were earlier telling us about?
Well, my mother taught me that God loves everybody. Black, white, people who are ugly, who are short and tall. God made us all. And we should let that be the base of our life. And let God come in. You see, I tell you, when I was growing up, there was a Slovak girlfriend of mine, and we didn't know the names of different colors or anything, the words nigger or hunky or nothing like that. But we played with dolls and etc. And one day we got mad and we heard these words, and I called her a nigger and she called me a hunky. And so consequently, we didn't even know. Then we stopped, and the time to eat, we started eating again. But that's what the world needs to do. Stop worrying about name calling. Stop worrying about who you are. Find out where God stands, and He conquers all. That's what love has got to do with it. Everything. Love is so significant in my heart. People who have done me wrong, I don't like some of their ways, but love has conquered me now, and I can deal with it. And it's beautiful. I just thank God. I'm at the level now where I don't hate nobody. And that is smart. Hey, listen, I go to sleep at night, don't even take a pill. Say my prayer, and my husband says I snore all night. No, but I guess I don't. He just says that, but I just let you know, it's a free conscience.
You've had a very productive, very meaningful life, and is there anything you would change about your life at all, if you could?
If I could, I would have went to college earlier. But we were poor. My mother says, we may be poor, but we're not dirty. Soap and water will clean you up, but we were poor financially. So they sent one of the kids to school, and that was my sister, the older girl, to be a nurse. And then the money, we didn't have it. That would be the only change. That's why I'm so much for education. That's why I keep telling these kids, get that education. Nobody can rob you of that education. I didn't go until I was 30 years of age. And here I had 4 kids in school at the same time. It was a struggle. I worked, and I went to school, and then when I went full-time, the daycare carried me anyhow, and I studied, and my kids were going to school, and my husband sacrificed. He helped with the cooking, etc. But we did it, and we did it. And I think that would be the only change. My heart is right, and my life is good because I do care. Now, like next Tuesday, I'll be cooking for the homeless, the shelter, the sisters. I will go out and get all the food, cook it, and take it over to the shelter. And they're gonna now my menu will be barbecued pork chops and Debbie's homemade potato salad, string beans, and Debbie's pasta, and then sliced tomatoes. And I will cook all that and take it over to them, and they can't wait. The sisters say, I got to taste that little potato salad. It's a wonderful thing to know that I can still function. And when I can't function, then say, Debbie's graduated. She's going to meet her daughter, Pat, and then God's going to be there to bless us all.
That's a great way to put it, graduating. Never heard anybody say it like that before.
Yeah, that's when I graduated from Phoenixville High School, I cried. People said, what are you crying for? I'm glad to get out of school. My friends, Do you know my friends at the high school class of 50? Helen Ray and Bill Clank and all of them, they pray for me. They write me letters. I have so many notes. They send me books to read. And it's wonderful.
Yeah,
but then when they call me, they can't reach me. So that Debbie must be out on the street again.
You know, we'd be remiss, I guess, if we didn't talk about the number one man in your life,
Ken Mitchell.
Ken Mitchell,
That man.
and the influence that he's had on your life.
That man. When I met that man, I said, I'm going to marry that man. I knew instantly God gave me that man. He's a blessing. He's an advocate. He's my best friend.
Yeah,
53 years of marriage.
Wow. God bless you. That's great. Well, Debbie, the time has gone by all too fast.
Too fast.
This should have been an hour show.
This is too fast.
Thanks
Thank
for coming.
you.
Thanks for coming on.
Thank you.
It's been really great interviewing you.
Thank you so much.
And thank you for tuning in to Poking Around Phoenixville. It's been our pleasure to bring you this show, as it is every time we do it. Until next time, remember, as I always like to say at the end of the show, play nice and be kind to each other. I'm Lou Beccaria, and I'll see you around town.
That
You're great.
was just
Super.